Trisha, just a question for you. Is everybody, can you see if people are watching on Facebook? You can't see people.
Yes, I can.
Oh, you
I
can.
did.
So there
Yes.
are. Okay. I just wanted to
Yes.
make sure. Okay. And I'm not doing this to air. I mean, blank air. All right. Welcome everybody. It's 4 o'clock and this is this class. And let me share my screen. Hold on. Oh, let me go back. Oh, sorry. There we go. This class is in regards to clear cooperation and updated MLS rules. Patricia, you can see this, correct? The
Yes, I can.
PowerPoint?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. So it's not only about clear cooperation, and this is strictly for CRISnet users, members of SRAR who uses CRISnet, because every MLS has their own rules. So so let's get started here, and I do want to point out that there are natural breaks where I'm going to stop and take questions. So you can put your questions into the chat on Facebook, I guess, and Patricia and I will go over them and I'll answer them at that time. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover what the clear cooperation rules are, understanding the changes to the MLS rules, defining public marketing, the updates to the exclude from the MLS rules, the new coming soon status for CRISnet users, updates to the hold status, and updates to active under contract. It's important to know, as I said, CRISnet, these are the rules for CRISnet members, just for CRISnet members. So if you belong to the MLS or Caneo or anything else, your MLS is going to have different rules. And if there was a mistake on the calendar, so if somebody who is using Claw or the MLS, I'm doing a class on that next week. So, but this is strictly for CRISnet, and you can tell a CRISnet listing because it has a prefix of SR. So SR1234 will be a CRISnet listing, but something that doesn't have that SR prefix or has a different letter prefix, those are different MLSs, and these rules don't necessarily apply to those listings. So clear cooperation. Clear cooperation applies to residential 1 to 4 sales and vacant land only. It does not apply to leases. So just be aware of that. Now, the mandatory submission rule for clear cooperation is within 1 business day of marketing a property to the public, the listing broker must submit the listing to the MLS for cooperation with other MLSs. And here's the kick, folks. The fine with CRISnet MLS clear cooperation policy violations is 1% of the listing price, not to exceed the NAR maximum, which is currently $15,000. So that's a pretty hefty fine. So that's why you really, really need to be aware of what the rules are. Here's the important rules to know. Rule 9.3, availability to show. What that says is that access or showing of listings within the MLS must be equally available to all participants and subscribers to the MLS and their clients and customers. Basically, what this is saying is that if the property is available to show, it's available to show to everybody, not just to the listing broker and their clients. It would also be you would also need to show it to cooperating brokers. And if it's not available to show, it's not available to show to anybody. So here's the statuses that allow showings are coming soon. And this, once again, is for CRISnet MLS listings only, because most other coming soon listings do not allow showings. Active under contract. Those allow showings. These other statuses, hold, does not allow for showings, and exclude from MLS only allows for showings from the broker, the listing broker, and the agents inside that brokerage. So any agents outside the brokerage, you are not allowed to show and excluded from MLS listing. The listing start date. When does this listing start? Well, it starts the date that all necessary signatures of the seller or sellers have been obtained on the listing at the beginning of the listing contract, or the begin date of the listing contract, whichever is later. What this means is that if your listing contract says that it starts on June 1st, but you don't get everybody's signature until June 5th, the listing start date is June 5th. Okay. When no public marketing has taken place, the property must be entered in the MLS within 2 business days of the listing start date. Now, a lot of you said, well, you just said 1 day. Well, that's if you've publicly marketed it. But if it's a brand new listing and you've never done anything with it, you have to put it into the MLS within 2 business days of the listing start date. A new listing can be submitted to to CRISnet MLS as an exclude from MLS, an office exclusive, as coming soon, or as active. What's the definition of a business day? Well, a business day is any day excluding weekends or federal or state recognized holidays. So Saturdays, Sundays, or any holidays do not count. Defining public marketing. The public is defined by CRISnet MLS rules that would be anybody outside the broker and the agent licensed within a single licensed brokerage and their clients. So the public is anybody outside of our brokerage, and our brokerage is the real estate license of the corporation of our brokerage. So even though I may be also the broker for Westside has a different corporation and a different DRE number, so that you cannot market to that brokerage. Public marketing is defined as advertising that includes but is not limited to conveying or displaying any information about the property and its availability for sale through signs, public-facing websites, posting information on social media, showing the property to on the brokerage websites or any franchise operated websites, emailing, texting, network groups, flyers, postcards, any app that displays to the public or conducting an open house, with the caveat when we're able to do open houses. The bottom line is anyone outside the listing office advertising in any way, marketing in any way, excluding but not limited to marketing done electronically, on paper, in person, over the phone, anything. That is public marketing. Okay, here's our first status, I will say, exclude from the MLS. Now, you'll see here it says registered June, July. Well, starting the end of June, maybe the beginning of July, this will be called registered. But it still means exactly the same thing. So exclude from the MLS. Within 2 business days of the listing start date, you must register the listing with the MLS by having a signed exclude from the MLS form signed by the seller and the broker, me, and you must submit a copy of the first and the last page of the listing agreement along with that exclusion. Now, I'm telling you, this is not anything new. I know a lot of people aren't aware of this, and it's like it becomes, oh my God, I'm supposed to do that? Yes, you were always supposed to do that. So this isn't anything new, and you send these materials via email to mls@srar.com. So it's the exclusion form with the first and the last page of the listing. And CRISnet has their own exclusion form, and I suggest that you use it because they just changed it in April, just before Clear Cooperation took, because it includes information. If you look at C, it includes information that your seller needs to be aware of, and that is no public marketing will be done for this property. We will only be marketing it within our own brokerage. And why is that important? Because a lot of people are asking, well, what if my seller tells people about this? Well, if my seller tells another realtor about this, well, you need to make them aware that they cannot do that, because within 1 business day of them doing that, that listing has to be put in the MLS, or else it's a violation of Clear Cooperation. Now, you can still use the CAR zip form exclusion from the seller exclusion from the MLS, but you have to make sure that number 9 is checked, because now you have an MLS that has a Clear Cooperation policy. So that's very important. Now, a new CAR form is coming out. It's being revised on the 22nd. That will incorporate this verbiage, and you won't have to check the box anymore. So if you're still using the zip form version, make sure that the section 9 is checked, or else you can use the SRAR version, the CRISnet version. So once again, important note on this page is if you're using the wrong form, or if your CAR form is not checked, it will be returned to you by the MLS department. Late. Okay. If something is an exclude from the MLS, public marketing is not allowed. No signs, no websites, no posting on social media, no sending to your personal website or the brokerage website, no emails, no nothing besides marketing within your own brokerage. So within the office, that's it. That's what this says right here. And agents within the listing broker's office, agents in our office may communicate that listing to their clients, see that's in quotations, as defined in MLS rules. Why is it in quotations? Because only specific individuals may be deemed a client according to the MLS rules. Well, what are those rules? And it's right here. So here it is, folks. Anyone within the last 12 months prior to the execution of the listing that we're talking about, anyone who has signed an agency disclosure with the broker or the agent, anyone who has signed a buyer broker agency agreement with the broker or agent, anyone who has signed a listing agreement in the past 12 months with the broker or agent, anyone who has signed an offer to purchase with the broker or agent, or a lease. Anyone in the last 12 months who has had a more than casual relationship with the broker agent that can be demonstrated by written documentation showing the broker agent has engaged in substantial real estate activity for such party. So an involuntary drip system, bulk mailings, random emails, any of that does not constitute a substantial activity. So it's very well defined as to what a client is. So please, please be aware of that. You have to back this up. If you're questioned about it, you have to back it up in writing. So when it's excluded from the MLS, the property is not visible in the MLS. Nobody sees it. And showings is, as we have discussed, is only to clients of the brokerage as defined by the rules, or the agents inside the brokerage. Showings outside of the brokerage is not allowed. And you can put a lockbox on it, but it's strongly recommended that you put a CBS code, which is a call before showing code on the lockbox, so that you control who goes in to that property. Because the minute anyone outside the brokerage goes into that property, it has been publicly marketed, and what happens? You have to put it in the MLS within 1 business day. So listings that are excluded from the MLS, you cannot have an open house when we have open houses. You cannot have it on Caravan or shown to a networking group. You can conduct an office Caravan, but you cannot have any open house or directional signs. Third-party websites are prohibited. You cannot publish it on third-party websites. Days on market do not calculate when it's excluded from the MLS. There is no time limit. The whole listing, the whole time that you have this listing, it can be excluded. And yes, it can be sold while it's excluded from the MLS, because it could be sold to a client of the brokerage. Okay, marketing outside the listing broker when excluded is prohibited once again. And the minute that happens, within 1 business day, it has to be put into the MLS. You have 2 options to put it either as coming soon or as active once it has been marketed. Once again, here's a reminder: a violation of this policy is 1% of the listing price up to the NAR maximum, which presently is $15,000. Okay, the new registered system for the MLS, which should be coming at the end of the month, beginning of July. And this is a tool that has been developed And it will allow the agent who has the listing to view and track their office exclusive listings. And you only have to enter into the MLS a limited amount of information. And that limited amount of information is the address, it's the listing date, it's the expiration date, it's the list price, and it's the marketing start date. And you still need to send the first and the last page of the listing agreement with the SELM within 2 business days of the listing start date. And your excluded listings will show in your MLS listings to the listing agent and to me, the broker. We are the only two who will see this information. And it's a way for you to track it. And it is given an MLS ID number, and that number will stay should you then go on to put it into a different status. That number stays with that listing throughout the process. So when this new status is available, SRAR will start training on it. Here it is, coming soon for CRISnet MLS. Coming soon means that a valid listing contract exists, no offer with or without contingencies has been accepted, and the property is available for showings consistent with MLS Rule 9.3. The reminder of MLS 9.3 is that if the listing broker is showing that property, then they have to show it to all cooperating brokers. So if it is, this is an on-market status. So once again, mandatory reporting that if you have not done any public marketing, you have 2 business days from the listing start date to submit it into the MLS. Or if you have done public marketing, it's once again 1 business day. And all you need is a minimum of 1 exterior photo to put it into coming soon. Properties are visible in the MLS to other MLS subscribers, meaning other brokers and brokerages. There is a limited time that a property can be put into coming soon, and that's 21 days. So after 21 days, that listing automatically converts to active. And please be aware that once a property has been in coming soon and comes out of coming soon, it can never go back to coming soon. So public marketing is allowed in coming soon, but there is a caveat. So you can put up a sign, you can market it on social media, you can show the property on your personal website or the brokerage website. You can do emails, blasts, social media, promote it to networks, flyers, postcards. You can display it on apps available to the public, and open houses are allowed. What is not allowed, and I think it's on the, yes, the listing is not to be sent to third-party syndicated websites. What are those? Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia. It cannot be sent to those websites. So it used to be that we would be allowed, the brokerage could syndicate it through like Listing Hub or stuff like that. And I think KWLS or something, it allows you to populate it to Zillow and those. That is no longer allowed in coming soon. The board of directors changed that. So if that happens, then it will need to be changed. The status will need to be changed to a different status. It has to become out of coming soon, or else it's a violation and subject to fine. Showing the property and coming soon for CRISnet listings. So this is only for CRISnet listings. You are allowed to show the property. But once again, it's per MLS Rule 9.3, which means if the listing agent is going to show it to them and their clients and other offices in other agents in the brokerage, then it has to be shown to everyone else, other cooperating brokerages also. So you can put the listing into coming soon as with, you don't have to show it. You know, if your client wants to do some work, they're not ready, you want to wait until all the pictures are done and it's nice and tidy, you don't have to show it in coming soon. You can blast it out to the other MLS members and say, here, I've got this listing coming up. There aren't going to be any showings until 7 days from now. That's fine, but know that no showings mean no showings. You can't show it either. So, and a lockbox can be placed on the property within a coming soon status. I also would recommend that it's, you use a CBS code. It's always good, especially in these times, to control the entrance into the property. So, yes, you can do an open house. You can do a broker's caravan. You can do a network group caravan. You can do any of that when we're allowed to do open houses. Presently, we are not allowed to do open houses. So, days on market do not calculate while in coming soon. So, just be aware of that. So that's 21 free days of marketing and showing a property, and you don't calculate any days on market. And obviously, the property can be sold while in coming soon. So, and once again, CRISnet MLS listings, you are allowed to show it, but be aware that other MLSs, you are not allowed to show it. So we all know that, people, agents from the West Side who are members of the MLS, they can take a listing across the street from yours, and it's in a coming soon status, but your listing, you can show it, but they can't show it in their listing. So just be aware of that. So can I go from exclude from MLS to coming soon? Yes, you can. Can I go from coming soon to active? Yes. To hold? Yes. To pending? Yes. To active under contract? Absolutely. But can I go from active under contract to coming soon? No. Can I go from hold to coming soon? No. Can I go from active under contract to, well, that's a, oh, I screwed that up. Never mind. So just remember that once a listing comes out of coming soon, it can never go back into coming soon, even if you haven't fulfilled the 21 days. Okay, so when you're adding a listing into the MLS, not the MLS, into CRISnet, you'll now have two options. You'll have it either coming soon or active. Oop. Okay, so you're going to see this start showing date. And please, please, please listen to me, because it doesn't mean the day you're going to start showing it while it's in coming soon. What that means because here's an explanation as to why this is here. Um, CRISnet MLS, our vendor for CRISnet MLS is CRMLS. Now, CRMLS has their own rules, and for them, it means something else. But because this field is in there for them and they're our vendor, it's in here for us. So what this field means is it's the date that the listing is going to go active. So if you have a coming soon listing and you want it to, you're going to leave it in coming soon for 21 days, but you're really not going to start showing it because it's not really ready for about 5 days. So if you mistakenly put 5 days from the listing start date as the start showing date, guess what happens on that date? It goes active. And what did we say several slides ago? Can it go from active to coming soon? No, it can't. So you're up the creek without a paddle, as they say. You can't go back. So what I recommend everybody to do is from your listing start date, count 21 days and put that date in there. You don't have to keep it in coming soon for 21 days, but this way it will stay in coming soon for that amount of time, and you can change it at a later date. So please be aware of that. And in your searches of MLS, you can see coming soon. So, but just be aware that some non-CRISnet listings are not showing their coming soons to other MLSs. You know, there are those that are doing that. But okay, soon there will be a new authorization form from CRISnet, an SRAR for your sellers to sign, authorizing you to put it into a coming soon status. So as soon as that's available, we will let you know. Okay, this is a natural place to start taking questions regarding exclude from MLS and coming soon. So I don't see any in the chat for Blue Jeans. I'm going to go and look on Facebook, see if we have any questions in the chat. Hold on. I mean, I'm sure. Okay. So, Joan, can you create a side by side? You know what? I eventually will get to that, Joan, because it's not only Claw and CRISnet. Our agents up at Calabasas also have to deal with Conejo and VCCAR, Flex MLS. So eventually, I will do a side by side comparison, but just not at the time. Allison, how do we control whether the MLS sends it to third party websites? Well, Allison, if it's in coming soon in CRISnet, they are not going to send it to third party. They're more worried about you sending it to a third party. So be aware that it will not be sent to a third party by CRISnet. Allison, you had another question, and I'm afraid that the minute that I look at these comments, I'm going to suddenly see. Patricia, do you see any other, because I don't see any other questions.
Uh,
regarding this?
yeah, I saw the three from Allison.
I only see the one from Allison. So what is Allison's other two questions?
Okay, so Allison, she first asked, so once we are in coming soon status in the MLS, can we post a sign?
If you're in a coming soon status on the MLS, can you post a sign? Yes, you can.
Okay. Her next question was, do we need an agency if we are showing it with a coming soon status?
No. The only place you need an agency is if you have it excluded from the MLS.
Okay, and then you got her third question, which was about the
Yep.
third-party websites.
Right.
Joan said, can you create a side-by-side chart to show you
I answered
got that?
Joan. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
And is there any more?
No, that's all I see.
That's it? Okay. So let me continue on to the other things that I'm covering. All right. Hold status. Well, why am I talking about hold status? Well, CRISnet changed the rules for hold status. So the definition of hold status is a valid listing contract is in effect. However, because of various reasons, such as repairs or illness, a seller has requested there temporarily be no showings. So this property is not available for showings. And that means you cannot show that property. You can't show it to any of your other clients. You can't show it to an agent in our office. You can't show it to any other agent or buyer. So it cannot be shown in a hold status. So within 2 days of the seller's authorization to place the property on hold, and how does the seller authorize you to do that? Well, you do a modification of listing. And once they say, I want it to be placed on hold, then you can, within 2 days of that modification, it needs to be put on hold. The property is available to agents in the MLS and shared with their clients. Um, and once again, showings are not available on hold. Public marketing is allowed. You're still allowed to market the property when it's in a hold status. You just can't show it. So, can't have an open house when we have open houses. And days on market do not calculate when it's in hold. Now, it can be placed into hold for a period of 30 days at a time. And if you need more time after those 30 days, it can be extended. So you can keep extending it if it's not ready to be if we're not ready to be shown. Can a property be sold while it's in hold? Yes, it can. But obviously, that property would have either had been viewed by the buyer prior to it going on hold, and that happens, or it's subject to physical inspection. The offer is subject to inspection of the property. But it can be sold. Any questions on hold? I don't think that probably there will be, but let's take a look. Okay, when you say within certain hours has to go to the MLS that starts from the okay. Mitra, it's not certain hours, it's days. So the definition of a business day is 11 from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. That's one business day. So in when I'm talking about if you are publicly marketing a property, it will have to be submitted to the MLS within 1 business day. Now, if that day that it's publicly marketed, if that is on a Friday, you then have until Monday to put it into the MLS. Now, if Monday's a holiday, you have until Tuesday. So weekends and holidays don't count. So that's what a business day is. From the beginning date of the listing date, and I covered that in the beginning, what is the listing start date? Well, that is either the date that the listing starts on the contract, or it's the date that you got all the necessary signatures from the sellers. So once again, if the listing date, start date on the contract says June 1st, but you didn't get all the signatures until June 5th, the listing start date is June 5th. Okay? So, Patricia, I don't see any other questions. Do you?
No, I do not.
Okay, so let's go back. We only have a few more sections to go. Active under contract. Active under contract means there has been an offer accepted and the seller requests that the property remain in an on-market status and is willing to show the property per Rule 9.3. I keep bringing that up because this is an important point, people. If it's available to show to you or your clients, it's available to show to anyone. That's important. So, and if the seller is actively looking for and accepting backup offers, that is when this should be put in an active under contract status. If the seller is not requesting backup offers and they're not willing to show it, then it should be impending. That's the bottom line. You can't leave a property in active under contract as a way to continue to market the property if the seller is not actively looking for backup offers. That's the big change in this rule. Mandatory reporting within 2 business days of a contract acceptance date, the status needs to be changed. That's the bottom line. And this is nothing new. It always has been that way. The property is visible to other agents in the MLS and that can be shared with their clients. And showings are allowed, during an active under contract status. Marketing is allowed through any means. Marketing is allowed. You can hold an open house, absolutely. You can do a broker's tour. You can do a networking. It is shown to third-party websites, and days on market do calculate on active under contract. If you, excuse me, if you get an offer while it's in active under contract, MLS rules state you have to submit all offers to the seller. Now, when the seller is no longer willing to show the property or they don't want to accept any backup offers, that listing needs to be, the status needs to be changed to pending. Do we have any questions regarding active under contract? Let me go back. All right. Okay. Allison, I thought active under contract was for before you removed all contingencies. Well, technically it is, but Allison, if the seller isn't willing to take a backup offer or they're not willing to show the property, it really needs to be put in pending, and days on market stops. Um, and that's really what it is. Um, so I'm glad you had a question about active under contract. And Joan, for Claw coming soon listings, are we allowed to hold an open house for our market center? No, no showings. Claw does not allow showings in coming soon status. So that would be a big goose egg. No. I don't see any more. So I'm going to go back. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So if you want more information or any updates in regards to clear cooperation, SRAR has a kind of website or a section. It's srar.com/clear cooperation policy. Coming soon. You can see it right there. That's a screenshot of where it is. It's on the front facing the homepage of the website. And you can also email questions to SRAR directly, clear cooperation policy at srar.com, or you can call them. Make a note for those of you, take a screenshot or whatever, make a note of these numbers, because these are temporary numbers that they're using while they're working remotely. So please make a note of those numbers. And due to the COVID conditions, because they're working remotely, it may take them a little time to get back to you. Are there any final questions? Go back. All right. I'm not seeing any, but I'm going to give you guys a little time to catch up, because I can see on Facebook, you guys are a little behind me. There's a little delay, but I'm not seeing any other comments being added. Patricia, do you see anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay, so that's it. We did it in about 45 minutes. That's pretty good. I hope I taught you a little more about clear cooperation and the rules, because the purpose of the rules is that we have the most accurate data. I have sat through, I cannot tell you, probably 40 plus hours on the MLS, on separate MLS work groups and MLS committees about the MLS. And the direction of this year's president of SRAR is to get the best data out there, and in order to do that, the information that's put into it has to be correct. And in order for it to be correct, agents need to follow the rules. So, you know, the showing rule about if you're going to show it to one, you're going to show it to all. That's a separate rule. That has existed in the MLS rules since they were written. So, and they're going to start, cracking down on these rules. So just be careful. Just do the right thing. If you're not going to show it, if you have an offer and you're not going to show it, and you're not looking for backups, change it to pending, because there's going to be people out there looking. The MLS isn't out there policing this. They are not policing this. It's fellow realtors who are going through and are reporting other realtors. So just be aware of that. It's not the MLS that's out to get you. It's it's other agents who are just as concerned about the accuracy of the MLS, and they want everybody to do it right. So if you're doing it right to begin with, there's nothing to worry about. But clear cooperation, once again, with CRISnet, it's really important to get that down. If you market that publicly, then within 1 day that has to be in the MLS. And if you violate that rule, 1%, imagine, 1% of your commission is gone. It's just gone. So you really need to know your stuff and really need to know what you're doing. So please do it right. If you have a question, I'm always available for questions. Allison, I don't understand why all MLS. That's okay. That's the big question as to why. It used to be we had carrots, and carrots were a group of MLSs that just decided to share their data and go by the same rules. Well, carrots went by the wayside at the beginning of the year, and the minute that happened, it's everybody's. It's just everybody's going by their own rules. Now, I will say that SRAR is trying to reach out to other MLSs and see if we can't come back to an agreement amongst ourselves like we had with carrots. I don't know how that's going to go. We'll see. Can you go back to the? Yes, Joan, I will. Let me go back to the Allison. I missed carrots. I will go back to the last slide. Hold on. Where am I? All right. Okay. There's the last slide. Take a screenshot of it. Pick up your phone. Take a picture. That's where you get more information. Joan, look out for the class next week on the MLS claw. I'll do my best. I've got to study up on their rules and put the same kind of presentation together. I'll have you know that one of the work groups that I've been working on is the education group. So I'm one of the teachers for the SRAR classes. So if you want to, you can take. SRAR is offering classes on their own. There's several of them to take. There's about 4 of us who are rotating who's teaching it. And if I sounded winded today, because I did the same class this morning at 10 o'clock, so I'm a little discombobulated, as they say. So Patricia, if there aren't any other questions, let me know, because I can't see them anymore because I'm looking at my screen.
Right.
No,
I don't see questions, just comments,
okay.
Thanking you for the information and the time.
All right.
In. Thank you, Rich.
Great. Thank you. And go out there and do the right thing, and we'll see you soon, hopefully. All right. Take care. Thanks, Patricia.
Thank you.